I'm Liam Tower, Vice President of the Slate Roof Contractors Association from Slate Inc. And I'm just doing a demo here on the flashing for the chimney. I'm going to use a gas torch. It's not recommended to do this on the roof, but being down here, it gives you a nice clean bead. You can see this is a finished bead here. You don't use as much solder, and you can have a little bit better control. This is just overlapped. I scribed up on the roof some lines here to go to. Can't quite see it, but that gives me the square of the roof and the chimney to keep everything to fit up there later on. But basically, this piece overlaps the bottom of this, and this right here overlaps here, so that this is what you call just a flat seam. Okay. Not a lock seam, but a flat seam. So basically, I just set it on, get this piece set, and I'm using this the square, this shape here, just to make sure my piece is set right. I take this and I get a little bit of a downhill effect to it so that my solder kind of stays down into the seam. Rather than having it flat, the solder can kind of pull out when you do that. So for this, we're actually using what's called Laco flux. I prefer to use that when I'm using my torch. There's many products out there. It's a paste. Works good. It actually cleans the copper at the same time as you apply the heat.
Is that acid core flux solder?
Nope, just 50-50.
Straight 50-50 wire solder.
Yep. So I'm heating up the copper and letting the solder flow towards the heat. If you put the solder right in, you're going to get too much solder too quickly, and you'll have a bigger mess on the hand. You want to try to suck the solder in rather than just having a surface solder, which isn't going to do much at all. This copper actually is 16 ounce, so it's really not taking much heat to warm it up. Right here, this is a little high. It's not really touching, so I'll just put a little pressure onto it. Let it sit for a minute. You don't want to have too much of a gap between your pieces. You're not going to get a good seal. And because I did that, I'm actually now going to work backwards on that. This will help me to keep my distance between my two pieces tight.
You're actually keeping your flame pretty low.
Yeah, there's not much to this this copper. It's getting pretty hot. And because there's no lock there, you're not heating up 4 layers of copper. You're only heating up 2. So. You saw maybe there I put my flame towards it a little bit because the copper's so hot. I know that it's sucking in there. And you can see in there in that crack, you can see there's a bead up higher. That I can see it's getting sucked into that joint. That's it. And you may not see in the whole back side, but you can see it's gone through and quite a bit of it, and I'm sure it's gone within, you know, a ½ inch of my opening there. And that's one way to solder a copper flashing. it sucked through so much, there's a little dimple of solder. I don't want that when I put it onto my metal or onto the slate. We want it to be flat, so I'll just push that off of there, get it flat. And, we're just trimming up the corners. We're gonna make it curved here. I just do it by eye. Done enough of these that I kind of can do it good enough by eye, but some people will just take the flux bottle, and if you have a square corner, put it there and trace it, and then you use that as a template. Now we'll go up on the roof and install this. So this just goes down at the bottom of the chimney. It's what we call an apron frosting. Slides up over around the chimney, just like that. What I'll do is I'm going to take it back out. It's kind of up here, so I'll just flex this down a little bit so that when I put it up there, it's actually tight to the roof. A little bit of what I call traditional modulation going on there. That's just the wrinkling of material. And so what I did is I took my crimp and made a little bend there. That should help to prevent that rippling or oil canning from happening to extent.
And then the counter flashing just folds down.
Yeah, we'll tighten that up, and we'll do something on the side to keep this all down. Either a rivet or something, but and this piece just goes on. 2 nails, one here. You want to make sure it hits something. Now I try to get the metal to kink down and also knock a hole through there so that when I drive this nail, it's not going to cause the bottom of the flashing to pick up. We don't want this to pick up at all. We want to keep it as flat as possible. And that's it. We're here on the opposite side of the chimney. We've put in our next piece of slate, and now it's time to put an additional piece of step flashing in. That will go right here. I got a little scribe mark here for my exposure, which is 4.5 inches. I'll just use a pencil to mark where the step needs to go to. As you can see, there's jogs here where the counter flashing is, so my step flashing will only be this distance here. These are all called Stubai snips. They're from Germany. They're high quality German steel. What I'll do here is I'm going to flex this out a little bit so that when I put it up against the wall, I can actually push it in and it will stay a little snugger that way. This is our last piece of wood that goes on. It's actually to receive the cap, our saddle ridge. What I call oozle. It's just a chisel basically. Now we're ready for our next piece of slate. Now to finish this off, we'll end up putting in one more piece of step flashing, and then we'll have a cap piece
Got a piece of slate.
of slate. Now we're just going to get this metal to stay down taut to the chimney. What we're doing here is we're going to just put some rivets on each side of the chimney. That's just an 1/8 inch drill bit. And these are brass and copper rivets. Now if this is a new installation, in our company we normally would have a couple extra flaps here that could be locked together, and that's what would hold it together. Seeing that we're just reusing the flashing here, we're making do with what we have, and this would be the best and cleanest way to take care of this situation. So up here on the ridge, we'll end up putting another piece of flashing over here on this side after we put the rest of the slate in. Then on top of that, we'll take a piece of copper that will go on, cut it to length. And because there's just such a small amount here, we'll just take 2 pieces of slate, cut them to length, and they'll just overlap like that with 2 nails on each side here.
And then those nails will be caulked or something?
Most likely we'll just do a little caulking on top of that to seal it, and I'll take a little slate dust to blend in the caulking.